Greetings and welcome to Old Drunken Discography. I'm your host, Jason. Your main host is Bill.
Oh, I definitely ain't the main host here.
And our special guest, Sam.
He's the actual main host.
The main host, Sam.
Wait, what?
You're now the owner of Bronze Tacos and Old Drunken Discography.
All
Quick,
right.
answer the 50 incoming new people.
So first off, if I'm doing that, we're gonna cut out the country crap. We're not gonna talk about Garth Brooks. Like, no.
Garth is gone.
All right, time out. That's like our pick for meat grinder for our album of the decade series.
You said I was in charge, so
Go check that series out, the album of the decade. It's pretty fun. It's pretty entertaining. Um, we are a playlist link channel. Sort us by playlist. You can click Paramore and watch all of our videos in a row. You may be wondering where Tim is at. He was on the thumbnail, and that's because I'm too lazy to go back and re-edit all the thumbnails to take Tim out.
it's not
Yeah,
that
he's
lazy. It's just that he was getting killed by dinosaurs over and over again, and it
No,
took him to.
that was me. Tim's at a Metallica concert tonight because
well, he's not just at. He's opening for Metallica, isn't he?
he got that Tay-Tay connection.
Let's say that first he was open for Tay. I mean, honestly, it wasn't even a step up; it was a step lateral for opening for Metallica at this point.
Well, that's probably a step down if you open it for Tay-Tay. We love
Yeah,
Tay-Tay at ODD.
he's probably jamming out on the drums and hanging out backstage at this point in time of recording.
Yeah, well, he backed out, and I'm too lazy to go back and redo all the thumbnails for Paramore, so his little smiling face is in the thumbnail, but that's why he's not here. Today we're talking the self-titled Paramore record. Hopefully you've caught our rankings. We are all lined up. Kind of boring.
For right now,
For right now, lock
For
and
right
chain.
now. Yeah, it could change. It could. And we're talking self-titled. This was 2013. And Sam, why don't you kick us off with
All right.
Paramore self-titled?
So here's my thing. The album? It's got a great opener and Fast in My Car. But overall, the one thing I will say is between this album and the other albums is it's over an hour long, and that's kind of I like it, but that's my one drawback with the album. So I kept going back and forth with it. Like I like it, but I wish it was shorter, but more songs, which means you can critique it more. But and I was going back and forth, but overall, I like the album. You still got your singles, but you got really good songs in there. But for me, when there's 17 songs, you could break that down into two albums for 30 minutes each, and I would prefer that personally. But what do you say, Bill?
what do I say? I mean,
You want me to go first before you?
oh no, I can go here. So this one, I felt there was more rock coming through just as a holistic view on this album. A little bit more punk also coming through, a little bit harshness on some of this stuff. You could shake your head. That's okay.
Ain't no punk in Paramore.
Compared to the other stuff, though,
Ain't no punk in Paramore.
There
the
may be.
drum. Anyways, like, does it put me on the spot here? I mean, the singles from this one definitely weren't as big as the last two. That being said, I felt this one they continued to grow some musically, and Haley got better vocally as well on this one. I mean, you have it literally labeled as interludes, as opposed to just like here's just the album, the song title. Um, it's which is an interesting decision from a album perspective. I personally, I really don't mind if an album's an hour long. That means I could just put it in. And the thing is, for me, when I'm driving most places, it takes me an hour to get most places when I'm driving, just because of where I live. So if an album is only 30 minutes long, I have to put in a second album to get where I'm going. Now, when I'm putting in 2 different Ramones albums, that's perfectly okay. And that's more than fine. But if I had to take the time to change between 2 Paramore albums, I don't know if I would want to do that. I would instead grab the Weird Al CD in my car and put that in instead. You have a thought, Jason?
Okay, you can't have an album that's an hour long with 17 tracks and even talk about punk rock. Let me give you some examples, okay? Green Day's Insomniac is 14 tracks, 28 minutes. Okay, you want the opposite side of the scale? Rancid Let's Go is like 23 tracks and still barely breaks 30 minutes. So that's not punk.
I'm not saying the album is punk. I'm saying compared to some of the other ones, you have more punk sounds coming through. That's what I'm getting at with this one. Like, I get what you're saying. Like, your average punk album, if your punk album is more than 30 minutes, it's shit. It's not a punk album. Like, that's...
I mean, there's exceptions.
But they are exceptions. Like, it's not... Fine, if I extend it to 35 minutes...
Yeah, well, I don't know. An hour, that's a long time.
It is a long time.
Let me give you some. So Sam and I were playing Fortnite a couple weeks ago, and I had listened to the first 2 Paramore records, and I was like, man, how long are these things? And Sam said, oh, you got one that's coming up that's an hour long. I said, no, please, God, no. And he said it was this one. I said, okay. After listening to all the previous records and getting to this one, I was cautiously optimistic going into this record. First, the producer. Okay, you have Justin Medell Johnson producing, which I know you guys probably have no idea who that is, but
That one I don't know.
he's been with Beck since like the Odelay days. Like, he's touring member, he's produced some Beck shit, like all rounded well, guy. Like that's a pretty good guy to have producing your record. All right. Then it's an hour long, okay? That already like sends triggers for me cuz I like my music. I like punk rock. I like to be able to throw a record on, crank that motherfucker up. It's over within 30 minutes. You're fucking done. You've listened to 15, 20-something tracks. You're fucking good, right? This has only got 17 tracks. It's over an hour long. Okay. And then you got to throw in the fact that it is a self-titled record, okay? 2013, what is this, album number 4? 5?
Yes.
Album
4?
number... Studio album 4, including EPs, this would be number 6.
Okay, well,
Including
studio
EPs.
albums, this is their 4th record, right? Self-titled, usually a band. When you do a self-titled, it's not your debut. You're trying to make a statement, right? And I feel like Paramore's trying to make a statement with this record. There's a huge shift in tone compared to the previous 3 records. And I'll go through track by track here. You also, the guitarist and you lost both the drummer and the guitarist brothers.
Yep, because they jump ship. That's the thing, that because there's only, you have Haley, you have Taylor York, and
Some other guy.
yep, I had it up here, and Jeremy Davis. That's the only 3 people. Now, that's like the additional personnel is like 20 other people for this album.
Yeah, there's a lot of outside shit going on here. So I went into this record cautiously optimistic. Because, I mean, Brand New Eyes, I think, you know, I think they've been growing, and I'm like, okay, let's see what they can actually do now. You get rid of that scene crap, the fake bullshit that they've been trying to do since the beginning with Atlantic Records, and get rid of all that scene shit. This is 2013. That stuff's pretty much dead. I think MCR is already broken up at this point. That scene was dead. So let's see what Haley can actually do. And Fast in My Car, I'll give Paramore this. They beat Fall Out Boy by a few years with ditching the pop punk scene straight up pop. So, yay, I'll give them that. Now, this is no doubt push and shove levels of bad. Grow Up is fine, I guess. The lyrics aren't bad. The music's just awful. Interlude, moving on. I actually kind of dug it. And I said it in the previous video, I think the acoustic stuff with Haley like really works. I think she can nail that like acoustic guitar. I don't want to say Jewel, but like I think she would have been a better Jewel type sound. You know, like it works. Ain't It Fun? Why does this sound like Debbie Gibson? I'll never get those 5 minutes back of my life. Part 2. Bill, as the resident Paramore expert, where the fuck is part 1?
So, this part 2, it's...
Why do you keep bringing bands with fucking songs called part 2 and 3 without the full fucking...
Part 1, so it's the whole thing with like, hey, no one ever knows what the first part was. Everyone sticks around for that second part. Like that's what it's playing on. Like I know that's not like a legit or a straight answer, because no one was around for the part 1. So here is the part 2 of the story.
Fuck A New Hope. It's Star Wars episode. Well, I guess that's a bad analogy because that's up for 5 and 6.
4.
Yeah, that's part 4 and 5.
We can Star Wars. We're gonna be for hours.
All right. Well, we'll get to some. We're going to talk about. We're going to revisit this part 1 and part 2 shit again because that's twice now. You brought me a band with a part 2 and 3 without a part 1, and I always, Blink-182, right? Anthem Part 3. On their newest record. I remember Anthem, and I remember Anthem Part 2, Anthem Part 3. Makes sense, okay? Part 2. Where the fuck is Part 1, Paramore? All right, Last Hope. Kind of boring. Not a lot happening here. Still Into You was not boring. It was just annoying. Ankle Biters.
That was their big single.
Yes. Off this album.
Yep.
Really?
Still Into was the big single on this album, yeah.
That's awful.
Welcome to 2010's pop scene, baby.
Ankle Biters, this is where I'm questioning why is this album over an hour long. Interlude Holiday. Again, it's good. Like, really good. Do more of this, Paramore. Do more of this. Proof, if you removed Haley, if you removed Haley and you removed a few guitar riffs and you add Chad Kroeger, this is a Nickelback song. I'll give Paramore that. They got more guitar shit going on than fucking Nickelback. Hate to See Your Heart Break. This is the exact opposite of what I say for most bands we cover, as I usually go with the faster songs. But in the case of Paramore, I think Haley nails the slower ballad type songs. That was a good one. One of These Crazy Girls, I kind of dug it. It had this 50s sound that they kind of pulled off. Do more of this, Paramore. I'm Not Angry Anymore. Again, all 3 of these interludes are really good. Do more of this. This is creative and it breaks up the formulaic crap of the rest of the album. Be Alone, It Happened. Future, It's 7 minutes and 50 seconds long. At the 2-minute mark, nothing has happened. At the 3-minute and 30-second minute mark, some spacey shit happens. It's something. 6-minute mark, okay, where it's still just boring space rock. It was cool at first, but, we've been doing it for a while. Jesus Christ, what a waste of time this was. Worst closer so far. It did not need to be that long. Like, I get it. If you were a 12 to 14-year-old girl in the 2000s, there isn't a lot of representation, so you get into Paramore. You don't know that it's really just an industry plant from Atlantic Records, but this is 2013. There is and was much better female artists out there at this point. Look at the Linda Lindas. They rockin' Bikini Kill. They're covering fucking Bikini Kill and they're kids. You had War on Women. The Last Gang was kicking ass at this point.
Lindas weren't in 2013 though. They couldn't have been because their drummer would have been like 2.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. But what I'm saying is, the Linda Lindas aren't even born yet, but by the time they come around, they're listening to Bikini Kill.
Yep.
Okay, so there's better ways to get out there. There's better shit out there. You had War on Women. War on Women was kicking ass in 2013. The Last Gang was kicking ass. Tori Amos is still putting out quality shit in 2013.
So I mean, this album I feel like was Paramore, the start of Paramore's struggle to stay relevant.
They're doing the exact same thing that every other industry plant radio band is doing, and they're chasing trends. And that's the key right there as to show what a band is and what a band, like that the authenticity. Like Alkaline Trio, right? They just put out a record last year. It still sounds like the fucking Alkaline Trio. They're still just as good as they were. Did they mature? Did they grow up? Did they change their sound? No. They're very niche. They're very, this is what we sound like. You're going to love it. And we do. And you can have bands that change sounds and pull it off. Blink-182. Fucking Cheshire Cat sounds completely different from One More Time. But there's still like some authenticity there. Paramore, they're being told, hey, this is what you need to sound like. This is what you need to do. Go out and do it. And that pulls something from you. That detracts something. And if you want to talk popular shit in 2013, female artist, Florence and the Machine is still kicking ass around 2013. This is just manufactured candy pop. Hashtag integrity. So
It was the truth.
Yeah. So Jason, I get what you're saying there. I mean, compared to what they were doing before, and 2013, they're definitely doing nothing new here. And I'll be honest, I really don't disagree with much what you're saying either. With regards to the slower tone versus the fast-paced stuff versus the industry plant, like you're 100% accurate at this point in Paramore's career. As I alluded to and I mentioned, at this point, they are kind of starting to chase the trend. They're trying to find something to stay relevant still in 2013. And compared to their prior 3, some of this, they were building. And I feel like this is their first real dip back. And most bands will experience some sort of dip at some point in time. Right? Like, whether it's a band has a dip on their 3rd album or their 13th album, a dip will occur eventually. It's inevitable. And I would say that there's, I mean, beat-wise and pacing-wise, there's some more rock stuff going on here. And even borderline punk. No, I'm not saying this is not a punk album. This is not a rock album.
Riot's more punk than this.
Agreed.
But the underlying sounds and stuff going on still has some of that foundation occurring. I'm not. If someone told me to name a punk rock album, I'm not naming Paramore, any of Paramore's, let alone this one, for that.
No.
You list the Ramones for that.
Let me
I would list the Descendants, but that's beside the point. A whole other discussion.
let me put this in perspective. Okay, we talked about this in Def Leppard, right? You're chasing trends. When a band starts chasing trends,
It gets into dangerous territory.
yeah, that's when you start losing your hardcore fan base that you found in the beginning.
Yep.
And you have no respect because the trend that you're chasing, they've already got their niche. They've already got their Nirvanas, their Pearl Jams, so you try to go grunge. You're like, oh no, you're just an old washed up. You're just chasing a trend. Okay. But one could argue Paramore was chasing trends from the beginning. You go all the way back to their first record and Riot. They're chasing the trend of that 2000s scene, mallcore, punk.
I wouldn't say they were chasing.
They were chasing it.
They weren't chasing. They were trying to replace.
They were playing Warped Tour, dude.
It's a fine line between the two. But I think they were trying to replace.
Atlantic Records told them to go out and start playing shows. Atlantic got them booked on the Warped Tour. I'm sure Kevin made a fuck ton of money putting Paramore up there and Yellow Card and Good Charlotte and all these other bands.
I mean, there's no doubt about the industry plant or the band is literally set. I mean, Josh said it was an industry plant, right? Their former guitarist.
Who was back in the beginning, they're chasing the trends.
I wouldn't say they're chasing, but they're... So, with like an industry plant, it's not so much an industry plant wouldn't want to chase a trend. They would want to try and make something else their own.
No, they would 100% try to chase a trend.
Not make it their own, but like alter it in such a way to divert the trend down a different path.
No, because record labels have never learned that. They take something that's popular. You look at Godsmack, Creed, all that butt rock shit. They're just chasing Alice in Chains because Alice in Chains was big. They were popular. They were huge. They're just chasing that trend. And it's watered down and it's crap. And Paramore is doing the same thing, only it's just the genre of the mallcore, MCR, Good Charlotte, pop punk, Newfound Glory stuff that was going on in the 2000s. I would say
Paramore is not chasing Good Charlotte.
It's the same fan base.
It's the same. So it's the same fan. They're not chasing Good Charlotte though. Like Paramore and Good Charlotte would have been hand in hand for more.
Well, I mean, Good Charlotte's an industry plant too. That was a bad example. Sorry.
No, yeah, that's, and I didn't mean to single out that one example, but
they're all chasing Blink 182 because Blink 182 was fucking. In the end of the 90s, Blink 182 kind of took over the pop punk aesthetic. They were on TRL. They were huge.
But the thing is, as you said though, like Paramore isn't punk really. Like they're not trying.
They're chasing that image though. They're chasing that alt kids. If you were in high school, let's say, because my school experience was a lot different in the 90s than I'm sure it was in the 2000s. I know it's different than my kids in the 2020s, but if you went to school and you were wearing a Paramore t-shirt, you were labeled a freak, right? You were labeled an outcast, emo. You were different, right?
I wouldn't say that. It'd be no different than if you went to school wearing an American Idiot t-shirt.
Same thing. The kids that would be wearing a country t-shirt or a Nickelback shirt.
I mean, to be fair, where I went to high school, most kids showed up in flannel and jeans, but...
Yeah, same, but... Okay, well, I don't know how to explain this. They're a radio industry play.
I understand what you're trying to say and trying to get at.
The fact that in 2013 the industry had changed and what was popular and on the radio was not that emo scene core shit. Paramore and their Atlantic Records said, "Hey, you guys, you got to change," and they did. And when they first came out on the scene, and Haley was just a solo singer, because she got to deal with Atlantic Records when she was a kid.
13,
Nepotism.
Good screaming, everybody.
That's the word of the day. And got that record deal. What was popular at that time? Well, Blink-182 and MCR was around the corner, and the Used and Avril Lavigne and that whole pop punk scene, and that's what they did. And now all of a sudden they got to do something different. Is there redeeming qualities to this record? Yes. I think the interludes really break up the record. I think they're interesting. They kind of remind me of Everclear's Songs from American Movie with the acoustic intro outro, only Paramore does it as interludes. It's like the same guitar, same melody type shit. Thrice kind of did it too. I really like that. And there's a lot of good ideals on this record. But musically overall, it just does not work for me. I think as a self-titled record, to come out and say, this is really us, guys. We're a pop band. I mean, come on.
I can get behind you with it. For a relative to self-titled, not a fan of this being the self-titled. I can get behind you with that statement. This isn't like when Def Leppard did their self-titled in 2012, 2011, whenever that was. And
that's true. Yeah, it's not like the Def Leppard self-titled. Def Leppard self-titled was more
Def
of a throwback.
Leppard self-titled, actually, yep, called back. Hey, this is what we actually want to sound like. That's not what this album is.
But it might be, because, they've always been a pop band.
Well,
they've always...
have my thoughts on the next.
Haley's always been a little pop artist. She's not the queen.
Queen Bee?
She ain't no Britney, but...
Beyonce?
Britney, bitch.
That's right.
Christina?
Britney.
Man, Christina ain't got shit on Britney. Come on now.
Yeah.
You could have at least said fucking Madonna. Shit.
Well, that was before Britney's time. Come on. I had to name someone somewhat relevant.
No, Christina ain't got shit on Britney.
I don't know, man. Miley. But anyways.
Oh, I gotta guess this one too, don't I? Fuck.
Yes, you do.
Well, you was defending it kind of hard, so... I think we all like it better than Saves the Day.
Agreed.
Yep.
Hold up.
Better than Saves the Day. Good job, Jason.
Hold up.
Push that agenda. Push it.
Let me make sure.
Just push play.
Check the notes.
Let me check the notes.
Check the notes.
Be hilarious if you got your own one wrong.
Oh, fuck. I don't have this one ranked in my notes.
How'd you fuck that up?
I don't know. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just didn't rank this one in my notes.
So this is going to be on the spot.
This is going to be on the spot. That's what you get here with a bunch of drunk people. All right, we'll come back to me. All right, I think Bill's going to have it. Number 2.
Is that your final guess?
Yep.
It's going to be my number 3. There was a part of me that was going to have it higher, but then going back and re-listening, we're staying at number 3.
All right. I think Sam's gonna have a number 3 too.
I went back and forth with this and Riot for like at the time of listening to the albums. And at the end of the day, it's like I said at the beginning, it's an hour long. If it was shorter, depending on the songs, it could be better than Riot. But if it's over an hour, you better put banger after banger after banger. And to me, it's a hit or miss with some of these songs. So, yeah, 3.
That is a very fair point, and I think that's gonna play into my rankings here.
God damn it, are we all gonna be the same? I can't
No.
see you having it above Riot.
No, I think I like Saves the Day more.
What?
I
And
get it.
I think because this album is an hour long, there's so much trash on it. Now, I think there are songs on the self-titled. Some of my top songs come from it. Are better than the self-titled, but as a whole, as a record, I think the self-titled, not self-titled, sorry, the first album, I think as a record as a whole, as a one piece of music, is better than having to sit through an hour of pop and trash. So, what's good on this album is good, and probably up to this point in their career, some of the best shit they've done. And I think if this album was like 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, it would have been okay. But 60 minutes is a long fucking time. And there's a lot of shit on this record. So I think I'm gonna put number 4. I'm gonna
Well, at least we got some diversity.
I'm
now.
gonna diversify this ranking. I could see the argument for it being better. I could, because there is I think some of their best shit they've done is on this record at this point. There's just not enough of it. There's a lot of songs I'm like, do more of this, Paramore. Do more of this. Do more of this. Will they do more of this on fucking After Laughter? Well, stick around and find out. Spoiler alert, no. They do some other shit, but we'll get there. So, anybody else got anything to say about Paramore, self-titled?
No, I think we basically hit about everything I was thinking.
Yeah. It's like we all said the same thing. Like Jason and I said the same thing. It's an hour long.
I mean, let's say you lost the Farrah brothers, and
This is a Taylor record through and through.
yeah.
And so are the next couple.
You mean Taylor? You mean Haley? You know, impersonating Taylor.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, this is... I don't know. I mean, the writing credits are weird. The writing credits are a little strange.
You get more than just Haley as a writing credit, yeah. Actually,
Is this the one where they brought in outside writers, or is that the next one?
That, I believe, would be the next one, because this one, it's still mostly Haley Williams and Taylor York for writing every song, except for Justin Meldal gets some writing credits. And then you have Jeremy Davis getting one for Holiday.
I think Justin gets more writing credits on the next one, which makes sense. I'm a huge Beck nerd. I love fucking Beck. And the next record kind of fits more into a Beck / category than anything else. Because it's fucking weird. After Laughter's fucking weird. We'll get into that. Stick around for that. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. Share us with your friends. If you're in the Paramore Facebook group, say, look at these old assholes. They're talking shit about Paramore. Come defend them, Paramore, in the comments down below. Let us know. What are we missing? What's wrong? What do we get wrong? What's your favorite record? Let us know. Happy Halloween, everybody. This was Bill's pick.
Don't forget to follow the TikTok.
Yeah, we might get an update once a year because If you're a social media guru, hit us up. We need a social media manager. Also looking for an editor. Video editor, that is. And be safe and make good, not great, not questionable, but good decisions. Well,